Having developed a preliminary prototype for our design concept, this unit will focus on creating a business model which can support your medical device solution. In order to do this, we will rely on the business model canvas developed by Alexander Osterwalder and Yves Paiguet, a simple tool which will help us to paint the picture of how our business will work. To begin with, who are the customers? For medical devices, usually the customer is a well-defined clinical speciality, purchasing body or insurance company. The customer is the one who pays for the medical device, and this is often not the end user. Next, let's think about how you can offer value. To understand our solution's value proposition, we should think about the key benefits of our solution. Does your device improve clinical performance? Is it less expensive? Is your product using the highly innovative technology? Does it reduce risk to patients? Does it reduce costs to the hospital? All these elements can add value to your product. However, keep in mind that the value proposition will need to be quantified. So, for example, if you are saving time in a procedure, think about how you would measure this. Next, there needs to be a way of communicating with your customers. This has a number of aspects. Awareness means how you are going to make end users and customers aware of your product. Evaluation means allowing customers to evaluate the value proposition. Purchasing means working with procurement and purchasing bodies in the healthcare provider or directly to the patient. Delivery involves the entire supply chain from manufacture to the customer hands. And after-sales channels provide the support necessary to ensure that the customer's experience post-purchase is satisfactory. You will need to strategize for each channel aspect to maximize the cost benefit to your product. For medical device manufacturers, the customer relationship is not always with the end user. However, the end user is critical to ensure that once a relationship is established, you maintain that relationship. A key question for early-stage medical device companies is whether to engage with end users directly using a dedicated sales force or to rely on distributors and others to do it for you. While direct sales can be very effective at early stage, it is expensive and often difficult to scale for small companies. A critical element in the business model is the revenue stream. Think about how will you support the business model through revenue. For example, as well as device sales, could you license intellectual property? Are there imaginative pricing arrangements such as cost-sharing or risk-sharing options possible? Is there the option to lease your product rather than to buy it? Keep in mind that in the current environment, hospitals and healthcare providers often justify large once-off costs more easily than recurring operating costs. Next, we examine what resources, in terms of people, plant, intelligence, and capital are necessary to enable revenue. Most early-stage medical device companies do not have the resources to complete all activities, so think about the key resources required in order to make your product saleable. The resources available will determine what activities your organization can undertake. If this is a startup, then a lot of flexibility is needed to ensure that everything happens. However, don't think you need to do everything. It is very common for small organizations to outsource regulatory affairs, device manufacturing, intellectual property management, and even design activities to third parties. Which brings us to partnerships. Partners are those that allow you to make your product a reality. Good partners are hard to find, and make sure that you have sound references for any manufacturing or sales partnerships before you start down that road. The best partnerships are those where both parties benefit. So, for example, if you are partnering with a regulatory consultant to help with your FDA or CE mark submissions, you should think about ways that you can help their business. Once all these elements are in place, you can describe the cost structure for your organization. Every organization is either cost or value driven. If your product is in a cost-sensitive market, such as medical syringes, then your cost structure will need to reflect this. If you have developing highly technical solutions to high-value clinical procedures, such as robotic surgery, you may have more room for manoeuvre. Once you have completed your analysis, you can begin to populate the business model canvas. There are many online examples of how the canvas can represent an organisation's business model. This example shows what the model for a low-fares airline, such as Ryanair, might look like. Bear in mind that your business model is always a work in progress, and the model may evolve or change dramatically if you are required to pivot your strategy. On completing this unit, you should have created a business model for your organisation based on the business model canvas. This will allow you to formulate a preliminary outline for your business plan, which you should prepare in draft form. Finally, you should complete short analysis of the market where your device will be sold based on your research from the past 2 units. This will help greatly in the development of your product going forward.